Hey, Scott Beebe with the Business on Purpose platform. It's Monday. It is our favorite day of the week at the time of this recording. Excited to be able to share. I've been reading a book all weekend, and the book is called Get Your Life Back, Everyday Practices for a World Gone Mad. Hey, before we dive into a couple of big takeaways from that, go check out bopwebinar.com. At the time of this recording, we actually have a webinar coming up tomorrow. Start hiring the right people. What I'll do is actually build a hiring process from scratch right in front of your eyes, and then we're going to share it with anybody who wants it. So that's tomorrow, bopwebinar.com. You can check that out. Hey, I devoured this book over the weekend. Get Your Life Back, Everyday Practices from a World Gone Mad. And one of the things that John Eldredge talked about in the introduction had me hooked as he was laying out the purpose of the book. He said this: I found myself flinching when a friend texted and asked for some time. I didn't want to open email for fear of the demands I would find there. It made me wonder, am I becoming a less loving person? How I wish that line did not resonate with me when I read it, but it did. Towards the final pages of Eldredge's book, he diagnoses what's really going on when we're feeling this way. He said these are symptoms that we're running on fumes. Listen, gang, chaos is a gas guzzler, and it has high emotional fuel burn rate, especially for those in the service or the helper industries. And as you build and grow your business, I want to walk through a couple of really no-cost steps, or at least low-cost steps, but most of these are no-cost, that you can use to both refuel while you're burning less gas. All right, so first, we need to make time for a daily walk. I'm talking about right now. Some of you need to, as soon as this little Facebook Live is over, or this podcast is over, you need to leave and go for a walk, a 2-minute walk, a 20-minute walk, a 1-hour walk, and you need to go walk. This may or may not be your regular sweat exercise. The goal is to walk just to get outside. But listen to this, gang. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates in the United States that Americans spend 93% of their life indoors. 93% of their life indoors. Eldredge puts it in a deeper perspective, saying that if you live to be 100 years old, get this, 93 of those years have been spent indoors. In her article, The Daily Routine of Geniuses, I actually printed it out right here from the Harvard Business Review, Sarah Green Carmichael reflects on the outdoor walking habits of the greats, like Dickens. Charles Dickens walked 3 hours a day. Tchaikovsky, 2 hours a day. Now, many of you can't do that. Kierkegaard, who would walk on a regular basis, she said often would rush back to his desk and resume writing so fast because of his ideas. He was still wearing his hat and carrying his walking stick. I have been taking a walk most days just around my street in the morning. We have a big circle around our little neighborhood for the last few years, and I've got to tell you, it's been very restorative for me to do that. Not just relief, but great restoration as well. The second thing that I want to encourage you to do is time block your week. We just did a webinar on this a month ago. I'll give you the link here in a minute. But time block your week. We have business owners tell us on a regular basis that time blocking their week has been one of the most clarifying disciplines that they have installed. In fact, I had one business owner just a few weeks ago. She said, it has literally changed my life. That is word for word. She wasn't being serious, or she wasn't joking. She was being dead serious. She said, it's literally changed my life. Why? Well, because time blocking your week means you own your week instead of your week owning you. Time blocking means that when someone reaches out to you to connect, then you get to share the times you're available while feeling confident in the times that you're not available, knowing that you've got those segmented out as well. I mentioned we delivered a really, really powerful webinar just a few weeks ago called Owning Your Schedule. Stop wasting your hours every week on small, boring tasks that never really add up to your life. Or never really add to your life. So you can watch the replay of that webinar, bit.ly/BOP hiring webinar. So bit.ly/BOP hiring webinar. bit.ly/BOP hiring webinar. You can see the replay there that we've put out for you, but we've got to get you to a point where you're time blocking. And one humble suggestion as you lay out the hours of each day in your time block, go to bed earlier. Go to bed earlier. Wake up earlier. There's typically not much good happening late, and there's typically a whole lot of peace and quiet if you're willing to get up a little early. So just a little humble piece of advice we recommend to you. The third thing is to find a private workspace without distraction. Listen, gang, the open office concept, it's really cool to look at, and yet it's killing focus and deep work. We rent a space in town where we have the majority of our in-person and online client interactions. But then I retreat up here. This is my home office, and I retreat up here overlooking my backyard right out there. Most Mondays and Fridays are typically the days that you'll find me in this private office. In fact, you won't find me here. I'm here, but I'm usually not open on these days to do a lot because I'm doing the deep work that this requires, writing these posts, doing these podcasts, responding to certain people about certain things, communicating with our clients for the upcoming week. Those are the days that I spend preparing for the Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And although we have minimal foot traffic in general form in our conference room space, distractions still abound. So in most cases, your workspace as an owner is too accessible. I said that right. In most cases, your workspace is too accessible. Now, you don't have to rent a separate space. Do you have a home office? Do you have a separate room? Do you have a study room at the local public library or a corner booth kind of in the recesses of a Panera Bread? Of course, get a powerful set of headphones as well. But time block segments of your week at your private space when no one except your loved ones can get a hold of you. So there's finally one more thing that I'll recommend to you. And that is one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite authors, probably my favorite author, Dallas Willard. He says, "Ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Ruthlessly eliminate hurry of your life." From your life. I wish I had come up with that quote, but it's a line from Dallas Willard. And theologian Robert Banks points out that our society is rich in things, but poor in time. Our society is rich in things, but poor in time. Last week, I sat with a dear friend while I was in Nigeria for a little over an hour and then mentioned just very thoughtfully and kindly that I needed to head to the next meeting. And his response was quiet and simple. And he said, "You can be late." The West African context is not rich in things and poor in time. In fact, it's just the opposite. The West African context, and one of the reasons I love visiting so much, is because relationships and time they are very wealthy in, even though they're poor in things. Even writing this, I'm already starting to think about the next thing, as I'm sure you are too as you read or listen. I've got my Monday checklist. It's right here that I've already printed out that I do every Monday. I've already worked through a lot of it, you can see, but I'm already starting to think about the next thing. And I'm sure you are too. Let's stop. In fact, I think I'll go for a walk here in just a minute. But you respond, "Well, Scott, but none of that will work for me. You don't understand my world." Well, then you'll just need to embrace chaos. But you don't have to. Hey, you want to spend more time investing in a business on purpose? We've made it really simple for you. Just go to bopwebinar.com. Our next webinar is tomorrow at the time of this recording, which is Monday, February 17th, 2020. Our next webinar is Tuesday, February 18th at 3:30 p.m. If you're listening to this beyond that date, just go to BOP Webinar. We always keep that link updated with our most recent webinar that you can be a part of as we try to help liberate you from the chaos of working in your business. Always, you can find us at freedom.mybusinessonpurpose.com, where we're there to help liberate you from that chaos as well. Hey, thanks for joining us as always. On a Monday, it's our delight to be able to serve you. For most of you, we'll see you on the webinar. If not, we'll see you next week right here on the Business on Purpose podcast, the YouTube channel, and the overall Business on Purpose platform. Have a great week, everybody.